So welcome everyone. I'm Mimi Lufkin, CEO Emerita at the National Alliance for Partnerships in Equity and Project Director for Make the Future, increasing the participation of females in advanced manufacturing pathways. And I want to thank you all for joining us today for this table talk. We're very excited. I'm going to turn the baton over here to Kathleen Fitzpatrick, the program manager who's in charge of this work. And again, thank you all for joining us. And I hope that today's webinar will inspire you to become mentors yourselves, as well as engaging students in mentoring activities, and also want to thank you for your engagement with our work. And if you're watching this as a recording, please take some time to go to our website at napequity.org, check out more information about the project, and contact us if you need any more information. So Kathleen, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Good morning, everyone. As Mimi mentioned, my name is Kathleen Fitzpatrick. I am the Senior Program Manager for NAPE. I operate out of my office in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And just want to give you a quick overview of what the Make the Future project is. And then we will turn it over to our guest speakers this morning and have a little discussion about engaging girls in STEM and manufacturing, specifically focused this morning on role models and mentorships. Just to give you a quick background on the project, the National Alliance for Partnerships in Equity Education Foundation, or NAPE, has been tasked with engaging educators and recruiters in a network where they can learn and share best practices to increase participation in advanced manufacturing pathways. As you probably know, advanced manufacturing faces a serious skills gap that could be solved by the inclusion of women and people of color, but a demographic shift in the manufacturing workforce will require significant outreach with students and parents, and this project is focused on doing that to increase the capacity of educators at feeder high schools and community colleges in targeted North American communities with advanced manufacturing technician programs. The communities are in the 7 states: Alabama, Indiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, Texas, and West Virginia. And NAPE has developed a suite of tools for this project that are available through our learning management system. And I will talk about those a little bit more in detail at the end of the program. But you can see that we have quite a few offerings, both some videos as well as some online courses that you can take that will help to educate you about attracting females and students of color into some of these non-traditional careers. Our 9 best practices are what we've been focusing on during these table talks, and this morning we are going to be talking about practice number 4, which is using same gender, same race or ethnicity role models, and again, role models and mentors. And I think that I'm sure that Cindy and Melissa will be talking about this, but as far as I'm concerned, role models and mentors are on the same continuum. It just depends on how much engagement you have with the student. So role models are ones that can be virtual or can be in person, but are fairly short in their interaction, whereas mentorships, as we'll be talking about this morning, are much more long-term and in-depth relationships. So I'm going to introduce our guest speakers this morning. Cindy Thorngren. She is the mentorship coordinator at the Idaho STEM Action Center. She is a lifelong Idahoan. Hopefully I said that correctly. Cindy has worked in the nonprofit field for 10 years with Junior Achievement of Idaho before transitioning to software training and testing and IT project management. She started a social media campaign to expand awareness of the many STEM activities educators and the after-school programs are offering in the state. And in 2016, she joined the newly formed Idaho STEM Action Center as mentoring coordinator, and now administrates the center's virtual mentorship program for student projects and helps teachers and organizations find industry volunteers for mentors and presenters. I'm going to introduce Melissa as well, and then we will move on to our presentation. So Melissa, when she started in college, she knew she wanted to empower kids and families, giving kids the opportunity to succeed in life and showing them the potential they have is something Melissa has always been passionate about. Sorry, my slides are going crazy. Not sure why. Sorry.
You can do the whole thing. That's how fast.
Yeah,
Snippet.
yeah. Um, I'm not sure why. I've never had this happen before, so I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. We have some technical glitches here. Anyway, Melissa's program director at Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Southwest Idaho. And when not at work, she's a mom taxi for a preteen daughter and concierge for her Pembroke Welsh Corgi. And for fun, you'll find Melissa running in the Boise foothills or exploring the world of Sonoma wines with her husband. So, all right, I will start us back. Here we go. I'm going to turn off my camera and turn it over to Cindy. And again, Cindy, just let me know when you want me to switch the slides. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. As the mentorship coordinator for the Action Center, one of our goals was to create a mentorship portal that kind of had everything available for the mentors that could find. And if they wanted to work on job careers or something like that, this site here that's shown has some of the links to go off to there and look at mentoring resources and those types of things. So let's go ahead and go to next. And this is our vision and our mission statement for the STEM Action Center, connecting STEM education and industry to ensure Idaho's long-term economic prosperity, and making sure that we have innovative STEM opportunities for students and communities. We are really working on workforce development, and our executive director is working a lot. We're under the governor's office, I can tell you that. So let's go one more. I'll show you all the different things that we have to do from the legislative section. We were formed as a legislature conformed committee organization under the governor's office. So we have at least 3 different legislations that we've brought in, so that we are trying to work on professional development for computer sciences, supporting high quality STEM development. We have a summer program for teachers that we have at 6 different locations around the state. We do a lot of grants out to educators, and we work with non-traditional education as well. So anything that's in the public, like public libraries, those types of things, we just don't work with private organizations as much. So we do lots of, like I said, lots of computer science, lots of the STEM. We do a resource center, and we are really working on making sure that all of our grant opportunities or anything else that we do works with underrepresented populations, which because we cover the state, a lot of that means it might be rural, but it also definitely includes girls as one of our major populations that we're going after. And we work well with other agencies and partners, which is why I brought in our Melissa with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Next. I saw that in one of the things that was listed on the PDF, one of the things that is really recommended for role models, again, is to train your teachers. So these are some pictures from our training program in the summer. We light teachers' hands on fire. That's just some of the things we do. Yes, there is. Let me see if that happens to be my husband that's doing dishes. So making a little bit of noise there. Hopefully he'll be done soon. The teachers go to this training program and learn lots of different things. It's a 4-day class that they go through, and we also do going out and go to a variety of field trips during that time, and there's general sessions that they go through too. Next. So our teachers really enjoy that. This is one of our grant programs. One of the things that we do for a lot of competitions is we support the competitions. We have several that we host ourselves, and then we provide grants for students that are traveling, either to state competitions, regional competitions, or national competitions. And this is a picture of some of our Fab Slam, our Bot Ball and Fab Slam students. And Bot Ball then is robotics. Fab Slam is a 3D printing. And we train those teachers and usually some mentors that go along with that as part of it, and then they go out and participate. We also have our International Intel Science and Engineering Fair that's more for high school students, and we're really working on a virtual program for that. Next. So we have a virtual mentorship portal because with us being spread out so much throughout the state, it's really hard for somebody to find something that is consistent locally. And so being able to go out and be able to meet with students and with mentors that are at a long distance from them, then the virtual thing allows that. Also, because it's just distance traveling, it's just easier. So with the virtual, the partners, the business people do not have to travel to come and do that. Go ahead and do next, and we'll take a look at some of the things it does. So you're able to choose a mentor in here. Teachers come in, and then they invite students. Students create projects, and once the teacher says yes, you've written enough to write a letter out to a mentor, a potential mentor, then they're able to choose a mentor from a list there that you can see, and it pops up and it's populated by the types of things that you select as subject matter. Next. As part of it, then there's a discussion board that is specifically for that project, and you can go back and forth with that. So the teacher, the student, the mentor, multiple students are in on that, and they can go back and forth. They can also add documents or photos, those types of things as part of the discussion. Then there's a video conference that's included as part of that, and they can see that's a picture of me in there. It's a little different program than what this is, and so they can set that up. It's pre-scheduled so that it's not immediate, so you have to wait a minute. That means it makes sure it sends emails out to the teacher and everybody else that's involved, and you have to come into the program in order to do it. Our mentors are background checked on this when they do it, so we have some fairly, what we try to do as much as possible to make sure it's secure and safe for the students on here. Next. So this is where you'd go in and find your expert. This is one of our mentors that's in the project. This is, you can see it down at the bottom that they've listed as cellular, molecular and microbiology and chemistry and biochemistry, some real fun topics. We are going to change that and make some of those a little easier for elementary teachers to get into. But if you have selected any of those as part of your project, then you can select from that, and the experts just pop up that also have those same subject matters. Let's go ahead and go next. Because the next thing is, so how in the heck do we get students and mentors into here? So I use LinkedIn quite a bit. If I have a project that comes up and we don't happen to have a mentor that's in there, then I'll go and look. LinkedIn is one of my main spots because I can go search. For example, this search, I've looked at manufacturing engineer, Idaho. I pretty much have one woman. That was pretty much all my list that came up with that. But so I can go there, I can connect, I can write an email as part of my connection with her and see if she's interested in being on my mentor list. So that's one of my main recruiting programs. I did go out this last time. I needed somebody who was into weather. And I did contact some people, but they didn't get back to me on this. So I found a news article. It would just happen to be Groundhog's Day. And so I tracked the name down through Twitter. And I happen to have a Twitter account, so I sent her a Twitter message, and she replied back to me. and we got her on a Zoom meeting with a teacher from the other side of the state for one of his classes. So there's a variety of ways to go out there and find things. Next slide. We also try to raise awareness in the state. Sometimes we'll get people off of this. We have quite a few. With our website, they can go in, they can sign up and volunteer without me going out and pulling them in. So we have quite a few of this. And we go through, we have STEM Matters Day at the Capitol building. We have STEM Day at the fair. We are joined by one of our television places that does a lot of this. So they advertise a lot for us. And so it really works pretty well for getting people in. Next. This is STEM Day at the fair. I just took some pictures with there. So we have lots of girls that come by and do that. So we hand out things. We invite some of our other partners to this. A lot of the libraries come and do some of these presentations. So it's not all the Action Center that's doing things. Next. I created this a long time ago, and I keep working on it. This is my list of girls and women's STEM programs throughout the state. And I go through and just organize them for who's doing what and where, and try to keep this a little bit updated. It helps me kind of know who's doing what, who's doing programs, maybe some of the people that I can get volunteers from with the women's section and things like that. Next. Million Women Mentors is another place. We don't have a lot of these in the state right now, but I am on the committee that works on this, and so we're doing that a lot. So they're one of the places that you can sign up and recruit mentors from. Next. And the National Girls Collaborative Project, which I hear you heard from last week. So they're another one that does things. And one more, next slide for this one. One of the things that they go through is they're working on Fab Fems, and I think we'll be on a call here this week or next week on working on that. You can go in and find a STEM role model through the Fab Fems that can connect with you virtually or locally on that, and you can send them a message through that. And that's my recruiting strategy. So for next, my contact information is mentorship at stemidaho.gov, and our website is at stem.idaho.gov. And I'm off. I don't know if there's any questions you want to do now or wait till after Melissa does hers.
Actually, Cindy, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
This is Kathleen.
Right.
First question has to do with your mentorship website. Was that developed in-house, or did you have, is it software that you were able to purchase?
We wound up going through our Idaho Digital Learning Academy, IDLA, who's working with a lot of the school districts. They're like our virtual school, by also under the government. And so they have this program they've been working on that does has those tiles layout and links directly. And so there's a lot of teachers that are already in the system, a lot of the students that are already in the system. And so there's some things that they can do, can go directly into that. That's the portal. Now the mentor matching engine, where we match students up to mentors and have the teachers come in, that's called the mentor matching engine, and that's out of Illinois. And if anybody wants to get in touch with them, I can give you the information for that. But they're also found online at Mentor Matching Engine.
Very cool. And then my other question is on a different project. We've been working with Idaho. They have a STEM asset map. Are you connected with that STEM asset map? I was looking at your mind map, and it looks real similar information.
Yeah, the asset map, I haven't worked a lot with that. The mind map is kind of, I have, because I was doing some stuff before, I had a lot of my things that I was working on. I know that we've been trying to do an asset map, and one of the things that we do with that one that you have is that's where a lot of our, I did see it the other day, that's where we have a lot of our grants things, so you can see where we're actually giving things out at. So you can see the different libraries and which grant they got, or the different schools and which grant they got with those. So, yeah.
And Mimi had a question about how do you manage privacy issues online?
Again, all of our students that go through there are invited by the teacher. The emails don't show up for mentors or anything with that. Once the student creates a project, and the mentors, as they log into the system the first time, then they're background checked with that. It's a real quick background check. So not an in-depth one because we're not doing in-person meetings. But then anytime that a discussion is written down on that discussion board, it sends an email out to everybody. For two reasons. That way the teacher always gets immediate, what the discussion is that's going on. And then also so you don't the people who are involved don't have to keep coming back onto the platform to see what the messages are. They get them in their email so they can, if a mentor doesn't have to check every day to see if there's a new message, it just comes over in their email as per normal. And then the discussion itself is just for that project. So every project that's in the system has a different message board that's specifically for them.
Great, thanks. Does anybody else have any questions for Cindy? If you want to type them in the chat box. Let's see, Freda says, do any schools have regulations that reduce the use of mentoring systems?
We don't know yet. Nobody's told us that. The Illinois group might have more. They've been doing it for 5 years. We've just been doing it the last 1 or 2. So we haven't ran into that yet.
Okay. And let's see, there was another question. Do your mentors go through any training or receive guidance documents?
We do have some things that's on the line for them, and then as soon as they get connected with something, then I'm in touch with them and kind of working with them, making sure that they're either contacting the students every week, or I'm coming in and or bugging the teacher. Have you talked to your mentor lately? Those types of things.
Great. Any other questions? Alrighty, if there are more questions that come up, we'll have plenty of time at the end to talk about them. At this point, we'll turn it over to Melissa.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning from Idaho. My name is Melissa Bixby, and I am the program director for Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Southwest Idaho. We serve kind of the southwest corner of Idaho, mainly Boise, but some rural areas around Boise, and we serve about 300 kids a year. You can go ahead and go to next. Just a little snippet about what Big Brothers Big Sisters does. We are a national organization. Hopefully many of you have heard of us, but what we do is we feel and consider ourselves the experts in mentoring. We have been doing this, our national office has been doing this for over 100 years here in the Treasure Valley, which is the area we call around Boise. We have been doing it for about 40 years. So we have, what we do is we put together a match, and we call it a match, is an adult volunteer with a little, which is a child, and they have the ability to go out and do activities on a consistent basis. We have 2 programs. We have a community program that allows them to go out into the community together on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. And then we have a school program that is the mentors go to the school and meet with the little during a school day. And it's usually during their lunch hour, and it's just for that lunch hour, and it's weekly for the school year. So what we do is we're very intentional about those matches. We want to make sure that those matches, we want the success of the match to happen. So we want to make sure that the right people are matched together, the right adult with the right child. And when they are matched, then we professionally support them. We have a team that communicates with them on a regular basis to just ensure that both the volunteer and the child are safe, but that they're also, the relationship is developing the way that it needs to develop, and to help along the way. So that's what our national structure has been. So that's what we've been doing here in the Treasure Valley. But now we've added an element of STEM. So go ahead and hit next. And now what we've done is we're actually rolling out we call it our beta program this week. we've kind of been dabbling in preparing for this for some time. Just to give you a little bit of history on how this developed is, and Cindy might be able to help me out with some of these details. I am fairly new to this organization, but I've been working with kids most of my professional career. But the Women in STEM mentoring is, they realized, my CEO and a few others realized that the one and done STEM programs weren't working, to the extent of getting a girl really interested in STEM program for the long term. And so through conversation, they decided that, hey, is there a way that we can put STEM into into our framework that we already do? And the discussion started. We formed an advisory committee. We have quite a few tech companies here in Boise, as well as resources like Cindy and the Idaho STEM Action Center. They all came to the table and started discussing how best to roll this type of program out. And through lots of ideas and lots of sharing, they came up with what we're going through right now is what we classify beta testing. We decided to use STEM terms. And we already have big sisters in our program. And that's what it was going to be, certainly targeted for big sisters and little sisters. We already have big sisters in our program that are in STEM-based professions. And we're pretty sure that they're already doing STEM activities with their girls, with their littles. And so what we thought we would do is we would gather a small group of them and go through a beta testing for the first part of this year, and then roll out the official program next year. And that is, we're right in the middle of it, and we're really excited about it. Go ahead and go next. So just to give you a little idea of what we're looking at for our STEM mentoring is our littles. The kiddos in our program are across the board. Normally you think maybe they might be high risk, or they might have some family consequences and challenges, and we do have those children in our world, but we also have children that just haven't been exposed to STEM, and they know what they know, but they don't know that there's other possibilities out there. One of our taglines is, we're defenders of potential, and we believe that all children have the potential in them, but sometimes they just don't have somebody that can help them guide that to where it needs to be. And so what we're hoping that is that if we bring in a big sister who is constantly engaging their little sister in a STEM activity on a regular basis, that the little sister will then move in that direction, and will have that interest in the STEM-based program. We've seen it with just in general with our mentors. We know, as you have said in your materials, if they look like their mentor, or if if they can see themselves being like their mentor, there might be a good chance that they're going to follow in their mentor's footsteps. And so we know that is the case for our regular mentorship program, and so we're hoping that that's what's going to happen in our STEM mentorship program. So our little sisters, we're really aiming for 3rd to 6th grade, although we will take any little sister from 6 years old to 14 years old. Our hope is that they will be with their match for at least a year, and that their big sister is providing this consistent, not only support just in general, but also consistent STEM opportunities for the little based on what they like to do together. Okay, next. So being a big sister, being a mentor, this is where this is kind of our heart and soul right now. We are in full recruitment mode for gearing up for this program to roll out in the summer. But what we have considered a STEM big is somebody who's in a STEM-based profession currently. And as you know, that could be the whole gamut. And like I said, with Boise, is we have a lot of tech companies here in town, but we have a lot of other little small companies that can fit into the STEM-based profession that we are still learning about. What this STEM Big will be doing is they will be spending 2 to 3 time. They will be spending time with their little 2 to 3 times a month, and we want at least one of those activities to be STEM based. They all could be STEM based if they want, but really at least one, so that there's just this monthly consistent activity that is focused around STEM. And then what they do is right now, as we're in the Beta Big program, which is, we have 12 Big Sisters currently in our program that have said that they'll sign up for this Beta STEM program. And what they're doing is they're going to be doing these activities and logging these activities and telling us what they're doing and what topics they're covering, what kind of questions they're asking. But to help them with that, we have put together an activity guide that we're giving our STEM Bigs. And our STEM Bigs tend to, the first question I always get is, what do I do? What do I do with a 9-year-old? And so we have provided activities for elementary school kids and middle school kids in this activity guide. And we've divided them up into topics. And so if your little is interested in astronomy, then there's a section on astronomy, and maybe there's a home activity or a website that they can go to for that home activity, just to start the ideas, and then they can go from there. We don't want to overwhelm them, but we also want to give them the tools for them to be successful. So the 12 Beta Bigs are going to look through that activity guide in the next couple of months and tell us if we're providing the right resources. And so that when we do officially roll out the program at the end of summer, we will have the right pieces in place. And really what we're hoping to do is, with this constant interaction with a STEM Big, that these littles are seeing the world around them almost through STEM goggles, and seeing that there's a lot of STEM around them that they may not know, and that they could go beyond what they might think that they can do in a career later on, or what might interest them. We have a quick story for you. We have a Big that's in forestry, and she's been in forestry her entire match that she's been with her little sister, and her little sister is now showing signs of having an interest in forestry just because she's been around it. But that if you ask the little sister if she had any idea what forestry was when she first was matched, she didn't. So, I mean, it's just that constant engagement and that constant surrounding yourself with certain topics or opportunities, just opportunities. A lot of our littles just don't know what the opportunities are out there. And I had forgotten what, with the recruitment of the littles, we're in the schools. We, as part of our advisory committee, we have some great resources with the Boise School District, and one of their things is they do a summer STEM camp, and so we're hoping to engage some of the littles that are participants in that. But really what we want is a little who might not have ever considered STEM to be part of her life. And so we're not necessarily targeting littles who might have already, we have a few STEM-based schools around town, and we're actually wanting to go to a school that STEM might not be an everyday thing. So that's where we're recruiting littles, and then just getting the word out with recruitment that way. And then with recruiting Big Sisters, what we're doing is through our partners, we're doing a lot of lunch and learns where we go and Micron is a big tech company here in town, and we've been to their campus twice to talk about what this program is all about. And we have a few of their key VPs in our advisory committee, and so they're opening doors for us there, as well as other smaller engineering firms, or we have Idaho Power. Many different resources here in Boise, and we're going beyond just the obvious big players. But we are we did have a proclamation for, and Cindy was part of this with the governor last week or the week before, I can't even remember. But he he really supported the STEM, and we were able to partner up with Micron, and we're really hoping that this program really goes far into the future. Next. And so I know we're in Idaho, but there are Big Brother, Big Sister programs all across the nation. And so I highly encourage to see if your local organization has a STEM program, or just littles or bigs that are interested in STEM. And there's a way that you can connect or collaborate. One of the other things I didn't mention that we are giving to having our Beta Bigs try out is we'll have kits in our office, little kits that they can check out, and then that way they have a predetermined activity that they can go out and do with their littles. And so we're always looking for those types of kits. Micron Foundation here in town has a huge outreach and educational component that they have the ability to go out into the schools, and they've partnered with us, and they will be providing us with some of those kits. And so it's going to be really great to offer those to our matches. Next. And then I'm not gonna click on this, but this is I just wanted to share a little bit about this match. This match is Sedona and Janice. And when Sedona came into our program, she had no idea what she wanted to do in her future. She just wanted to do the bare minimum with education. She just wanted to do whatever she could to just get out of school. And Janice, her big, throughout their match, Janice is a professional. She's been in a few high leadership roles here in Boise, and she really showed Sedona that education will take you far, and education will help you make bigger and better decisions. And while it's not a STEM-based match, it's a match where it shows that a little follows in her big's footsteps. And so if you have a moment, I encourage you to take 3 minutes and just watch this little video on YouTube of Sedona and Janice, and you can kind of see how our matches develop. We're in this for the long term. We want a match to last for at least a year. Our average match here in Idaho is about 3 years. And that means a lot. It's consistency and continuously engaging with both the big and the little. So next. And here's all of my contact information and our local information. But like I said, Big Brothers Big Sisters has over 300 agencies across the nation, and we aren't the only ones doing STEM. But we've seen that it's successful in other places, and we're really hoping for a really good program start at the end of the summer. And if anything, like what we've been through already with partnerships with the Idaho STEM Action Center and Micron and whatnot, there's some really good momentum there.
Thanks, Melissa. Uh-oh. Am I getting some feedback? Okay. I just wanted to let you know that I put the link from your video in the material section of the webinar.
Great.
So
Thank you.
Anybody who wants to watch that, they can watch that at a later date. So we had several comments and questions. So I'm going to kind of run through all the questions. So the first question from Mimi was, did I understand that the mentor meets with their little for lunch every week at school?
In our school-based program, yes, that's the case. And so it's about an hour. For some of our bigs, this is if they know that every Tuesday at lunch they're going to be meeting with their little, it's a better scheduled opportunity for them than if they just have to schedule 2 to 3 activities a month in the community. So it's easier for them. Our STEM-based program is rolling out for the community program, so it's not going to be in the schools just yet. But once we fine-tune it, we see that there might be opportunities for the school-based program.
So I think you just answered Freda's question about your programs work with, through, or at schools. So there's school programs and there's also community-based programs.
Right, two different Yeah, two different programs, and that really is just because some volunteers just don't have the ability to get away from during the day, and so that's where the community program works. The community program also, when I say that we professionally support our matches, we're not only supporting the big and the little, but we're also supporting the parent and the family, and so the community program has a lot of interaction with the parents and the of the little, and sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes we find that a challenging thing. So so kiddos might be better suited in the school program if there's a language barrier or any challenges like that.
Great. A couple questions. I had one and Mimi had one about, are you including some sort of evaluation or research component to see what happens with the girls that participate in this?
Yeah,
or
we
the
have.
kids?
We already do that on a regular basis with our regular matches. With the STEM matches, what we've done is we've added a few assessment questions at the beginning, a baseline, and then we will continuously check in with them. And then we ask them to do surveys at the end of the year where we not only talk about, family structure and whatnot, but school-based and career-based. Do they expect themselves to go through high school or college or beyond that? And so we do ask those questions.
Do you have the ability to track them longitudinally once they get out of your program?
That's the tricky part is we often find that bigs and littles continue to stay in touch after if the match has been going on for some time, but once the match closes, with a graduation or whatnot, that bigs and littles do still keep in contact, and that's really where we find our information, but we don't have any ability beyond that, unfortunately. We've tried. Alumni groups are really hard as people are moving away and all of that fun stuff.
Great, thanks. There were several questions about the kits and the activity list. So is that something that you would be willing to share? Because I think that's one of the things that we're also looking to develop a library of hands-on activities that mentors and role models can use with kids. So we can add that to our list.
Yeah, we're actually rolling that out today.
Oh my goodness.
I have a few beta bigs that are coming to pick up their activity guides today. But yeah, it's really what we wanted to do is just make it simple. If you go out to the websites, you can be very overwhelmed with STEM activities out there. There's lots of them out there, and you don't quite know what direction. Even me, who was trying to coordinate this effort, got a little overwhelmed at times because there are so many resources out there. So we really tried to just kind of narrow it down into bite-sized pieces, and then people can our bigs can really go from there and then determine what is of interest of their littles. So we tried to include on each topic, we tried to include a location to visit and a website to visit and then a home activity. And those were three main things. And then if we had more information about those, we would include those. So I'm happy to share our format, and obviously some of our resources are local, but those are easy to sub in with what you have around your location.
And related question is, do all Big Brother Big Sister programs have this sort of structure with kits and activities and that sort of thing, or is it just unique to Idaho?
It's across the board, but each agency can really fine tune it based on what the populations they're serving. So for our regular mentorship in our community program or in our school program, we really give a lot of freedom to what they choose to do and what they want to do. So we don't really direct, we just want them meeting on a regular basis. With the STEM program, we've really fine tuned it to, giving them resources and hoping that they're introducing their little not to just one STEM topic, but multiple STEM topics throughout.
Yep, great. So let's see, there's another question about, do you have a protocol for working with schools or how to get schools involved?
We are usually, our first point of contact at schools is either a principal or a counselor. And we find that if we have that liaison who is really helping us to get into the schools and seeing what benefits our program can be in the schools, it's huge. Because if you have that partnership that allows you to kind of come and go during the day, or be there during the lunch hour, have meeting spaces, have little tables available where our matches can meet, things like that. It really helps to have a liaison. And so really we try and just develop those relationships within the schools, and it's a relationship, it doesn't just stand on or with the counselor, but it can also include the front staff people, things that if our matches come in or our volunteers are coming into the school, we want them to be welcomed. And so it's really building those relationships with those schools. And then, we have, we're not in every school here in Boise. We're in a handful of schools, and we try and hone in on the quality of those handful of schools.
Okay, thanks. One thing that Lisa, who's part of our team, has put a comment in here is, could you talk a little bit more about the, excuse me, the parent engagement? So this is one of our strategies that we've listed as well, and we'd love to hear more about how you work with parents and what successes or challenges you face.
Yeah. So part of our professionally supported match, when we say professionally supported matches, we have what we classify as match support specialists here in our office. And what they're doing is, once a match has been made, they are on a monthly basis, they're talking with the parent or the child, and it alternates. So one month it'll be the parent, the next month it'll be the child. And then they're communicating with the big every month. And it's through those communications, it's phone calls usually. And what it is just asking specific questions geared towards that match and what is going on. And really we talk about that parent engagement from the get-go. So when a little goes through the interview process in our agency, we really talk about, as a parent, you're going to be involved in this as well. And that's sometimes a great success, and sometimes it's a great challenge. We have some of our kids that come from divorced families, or they have incarcerated parents, or they're being cared for by another family member. And so, but we really try to strive hard as communication from the get-go, that we're going to engage these parents on a regular basis. The other thing is we really try hard to have a few different events throughout the year that involve the parents. So once a match is made, activities are usually really focused on the child and the volunteer one-to-one, but we really want to engage the parents and give them resources. And so we talk about, maybe we have certain events where we offer topics to parents that might be of help to them in their everyday life. So financial security, we partner with different different nonprofits to maybe bring another different message. But I will say the parent engagement, while in theory it sounds like it's an easy thing to do, it's hard to track down parents. It's hard to get them to take a moment to really converse and talk through things with us. And so that's something we're always trying to be better at.
And how big is your staff that does all of these? It sounds like it's pretty labor intensive.
It takes a lot of time, and we have so the program staff at our office, we have 7 of us, and then overall we have 10 in our office. So we have the CEO and some marketing and development. But
how many kids?
Go ahead.
How many kids
we have that staff support? About 300 each year, which usually amounts to each of our match support specialists supports close to 50 matches throughout the year. So they're talking to 50 different, or in versions, 50 different people a month.
Wow. It sounds like such great work, but it's pretty intensive, right?
Yes.
In terms of supporting these kids and getting them where they need to be.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Fred asked a question related to that, is do you have resources for staff about working with parents?
We try and do a lot of professional development, because we see the whole gamut with parents and what the challenges parents might see. If you excuse me, if you think of just, normal family structure, and normal being that there's really not any normal anymore. Parents have a lot on their plates. They have a lot of things that are coming at them. And then if you add some, challenges of custody battles or incarceration or, opioids or any of that, then we really try and train our staff as to how to deal with that. We may not be the experts, but we may know how to direct them to the experts, and really, how to best serve our families, because they're coming to us, and so how can we be a resource to them? And it's a variety of ways.
Fred asked if you were willing to share any of those resources.
I'm happy to share any of those. They usually are typically local sources, but if there's any specific things, I can look to my program staff and see what and get their input on all of that. So I'm happy to, if you want to reach out to me in an email or phone call, I'm happy to talk through that.
Great. One other question. California requires fingerprinting of volunteers. Is that true in your state as well?
We don't do fingerprinting, but we do an extensive background check. Okay. And vehicle check for all of when you are working with children, you want to make sure that interview and application process is extensive. And so we really hone in on a really multi-level background check and a My Court check and different things like that, which can get pricey. That's one of our biggest expenses is the background checks, but it's very important. Each state is different, and I know that California has a few more things that they require than what we require here in Idaho, but it's a state thing.
Great. All right, unless there aren't any other questions, I'm going to wrap us up here with a few more slides about the project. Thank you to Melissa and Cindy for sharing some very valuable and interesting resources and experiences. And I'd suggest everyone go and look at the video. I watched it last night. It's brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah, I was going to warn that you might need a tissue or two.
Yeah. Turning my webcam back on. Good morning. You've been hearing my voice, not seeing my face, but just wanted to remind everyone who's listening to this webinar that through this project we have some resources. This is the learning management system for advanced manufacturing pathways make the future, and we've got some resources available to all the pilot schools that are involved. And this is just a slide talking about how you can benefit from being part of the project, increasing your knowledge, getting access to tools and best practices, growing your network around advanced manufacturing, and ultimately with the goal of increasing the participation of girls and girls of color in your advanced manufacturing pathways programs. And with that, I want to thank you all for being with us this morning. Want to remind everyone that in the materials section is a copy of the full 9 best practices, our complete document. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, we'd encourage you to do so. And also there's a evaluation link if you could evaluate this program and give us some feedback on how useful this is. We are in a pilot portion of this project, so as much feedback as we can get, the better. So given that, again, want to thank everyone for being here this morning. Thank you again to Cindy and Melissa. Any final words that either of you want to share before we sign off?
No, I'm happy to talk about anything STEM related. I'm not an expert, but I am definitely very interested, and we're really excited for this program. So reach out if you have any questions.
So I definitely, Melissa, will reach out to you to get some of the questions about activities as well as resources for engaging with parents. Cindy, did you have some comments?
No, just to keep working on mentoring. I think it's, it's one of the things that we know parents do want. We ask at fairs and STEM back to school nights and stuff, and parents say mentoring is really good. It's just getting them involved and getting those mentor matches going.
Absolutely. Well, Lisa says thank you. Very excited and worthwhile work. We all feel the same. Thank you again for being here, and everyone have a great day.
You too.